Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu salam wa Rasulullah. We continue reading from Imam Al-Ghazali's The 99 Beautiful Names of God, Al-Maqsad Al-Asna fi Sharh Asma'illahi Al-Husna, translated by David Borel and Nazih Tahir. We have reached page number 94, Al-Hadi, translated here as the guide. The previous attribute, An-Nur, the light, to connect between An-Nur and Al-Hadi. This is now on bottom of page 145. We have mentioned the Ayat An-Nur in the previous session. And of course, it begins with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allahu Nur as-samawat wal-ard. Allah is the light of the heavens and the earth. It's a beautiful verse that we spoke about in the last session. His light is like a niche in which there is a lamp, a lantern. The lamp is in a crystal. The crystal is like a shining star lit from the oil of a blessed olive tree, located neither to the east nor to the west, whose oil would almost glow even without being touched by fire. Light upon light, Allah guides whoever He wills to His light. And this is really the link between the previous session and this session. Allah guides whoever He wills to His light, and of course, in the original Quranic Arabic, يهدي الله لنوره من يشاء. This is the part. So we are moving from the Nur to the Al-Hadi, which makes perfect sense, because the divine light is really to guide humanity on the path to the hereafter. So Al-Hadi, the guide, Imam Ghazali writes, is the one who guides the elect among his servants to a knowledge of his essence, so they might call upon it as a witness to things. So here we talk about a special guidance. And if one might say, why the special guidance? Think about it even when we talk about acquisition. We have already expressed Imam Ghazali's thought about the two main sources for the average human being. Of course, two main sources of knowledge. We talk about through the senses and ultimately the intellect. And the second is basically the heart, in the sense of you need to polish the heart, and thereafter knowledge, you will be inspired in a way that someone who did not polish his heart would not, a heart that is really darkened by sins, by being simply astray. Let me give, first of all, an example from the normal course of knowledge. Some people, if they even in the when that source of knowledge in education, even when the opportunity is available, where education, for example, is free, and sometimes in certain universities, even undergraduate, there are certain countries where you don't pay really for your education. Graduate school, sometimes you don't pay. But the issue is that some people choose not to be enrolled, not to be serious about education. They drop out of school, so they do have the opportunity in principle, but they choose not to utilize the opportunity. It's the same here in the area of the affairs of the heart. You choose not to polish the heart. You choose simply to continue leading a life away from. It's lowly life compared to a life that has a heart that is enriched by direct, inspired knowledge, if you will. So, Al Hadi, the guide, is the one who guides the elect among his servants to a knowledge of his essence, as they might call upon it as a witness to things, as he guides the bulk of his servants to the things he has created, so they might call upon them as a witness to his essence, as well as guiding each created thing to what it needs to satisfy its needs. Of course, the immediately Imam Ghazali is going to talk about that which is innate, but there is one can think about the since witnessing is mentioned here. وإذ أخذ ربك من بني آدم من ظهورهم ذريتهم وأشهدهم على أنفسهم ألست بربكم قالوا بلى. So the like in an original moment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took from the loin of Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam the offspring in like a primordial state. All the children of Adam, from Adam alayhi salam until the very last person, every single one until the day of judgment, all those human beings did bear witness to the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So there is something about our nature, there is something in our hearts, there is something in let's call it in the back of our head that bears witness to the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You would know it. And you know when things go wrong. The Prime Minister of India just very recently spoke about the 1.4 billion Hindus. He said that all of them are gods and that he worships them all. This is everyone knows that this is definitely wrong. I wonder how the Hindus would react to such a blatant statement that is intended to accept what the context in which he says that he is called. There is something that it is about him being unique. Yes. So so humanity did bear witness to the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and literally even the word martyr in English in its original Greek, the original Greek is about witnessing. Same thing in Arabic. Shaheed is about witnessing, and it's the highest level of witnessing. Much like the it's not only versus external enemies, but it's just in the hadith. The hadith speaks about a man who would speak truth before a word of justice before an unjust ruler who would kill him. This is also one of the highest states of witnessing. So he guides the infant. Now we talk about the innate. Innate meaning that it's not acquired after birth. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides the infant to take the breast from the moment of its release from the womb. After, right after birth, there are certain things that will take place. He guides the young bear to pick up seeds at the time of its coming out of the shell, and he guides the bee to build his house in a hexagonal shape. This, um and this is all innate, as being the shape most suitable to his body. You talk about because in his because the um, Arabic, of course, in Arabic, النحل is as such is masculine. The plural is masculine. Okay, this is the why the use of the pronoun here, he or his. The most cohesive shape and the one least likely to be pierced by damaging holes. To explain that would take to explain that would take too long. But the saying with the Most High expresses it. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. We gave unto everything its nature, then guided it aright. And also another verse. And who measures and then guides. الذي أعطى كل شيء خلقه ثم هدى. And in the second verse, وَالَّذِي قَدَّرَ فَهَدَى. So this hidayah is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Each has its nature, but it is the human being who disturb the nature of things. In the animal kingdom, a lion remains a lion, and a lioness remains a lioness. That's given. But the human being, we have those who insist on giving up their own nature, whereby they would like to move from being a lion to a lioness, and the lioness would like to move to becoming a lion, changing some appearances. This is my understanding also of the pledge of Satan, that he will lead human beings to change the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That he will command them to change their nature, the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us. And now we see how things are the result too. And they started talking about the aging population in some European countries, for example. There are no youngsters, not in the absolute sense, that the average age is above 60. Less marriages, less children, and they attribute this to, they know it, to homosexuality, rise of radical feminism that destroys both masculinity and femininity. And it's a mess. And the gender identities, they grew exponentially. You talk about more than 100 identities. You need to be specialized in the field to probably remember all of this nonsense. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created everything and guided it. He gave everything its creation, its nature. And who are the guides? They are the prophets and the scholars. The ones who guide among men are the prophets and scholars who direct creatures. Because العلماء ورثة الأنبياء. They direct creatures to happiness in the world to come and guide them to the straight path of God. Okay. but it is God who guides them in what they say and what they are subservient to His power and planning. So, on one level, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used them as a medium to express His will to humanity. And one can highlight that the happiness here is that in the world to come, okay, there could be comfort in this life, but with all the difficulties that we create also. The warning to Adam alayhi salam, litashqa, that you will exert effort in this life, in this worldly life. Happiness, I think the best way to express the notion of happiness. I'm talking about the expression. Said Muhammad Naqib al-Attas, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward him abundantly. He wrote about happiness, and he compared happiness in the Islamic worldview to happiness in Western, primarily it's in the original Greek literature. In Greek literature, it is always about here and now. And there are two major scenarios. In one, you have what you consider a happy beginning and a sad or tragic ending, and that will be called a tragedy. The opposite beginning, a beginning that is sad or tragic, and a happy ending, and that's a comedy. He said that from Islamic perspective, it cannot be here and now. The end, you would know that you are a happy person once you. It's about hereafter. If you really enters paradise, if you are forgiven, if you are accepted, and you enter paradise, then you are happy. Otherwise, all the pleasures that you have tasted in this life would be in vain, without any use, if you would end up in hellfire. And definitely, any world leader who caused so much misery, raining death on people, can simply, for example, those who gave the orders and destroyed 69 Japanese cities other than Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and using atomic bombs at the time. How could you basically be a happy person? People might provide you with the best mattress, best food, best clothing. You are driven around in with bodyguards and all this, and you are not happy. Your end is cannot be a happy ending. So this is, it's basically who directs creatures to happiness in the world to come. It doesn't guarantee that you will not have hardship. In fact, it's the other way around. The closer you are to the role of the prophets is to expect really hardship. No people ever accepted the prophet that was sent to them with open arms and euphoria. All of them suffered. Some of them paid with their lives. And it is really there in the Quran. And it's in their books. They never accepted anyone with, imagine, even your immediate family, like the family of the Prophet ﷺ. Some of his uncles became, some of his worst enemies. Literally his uncles. Some of them became Muslims. One of them became his defender. Did not become a Muslim. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala a'la wa alam. This is Abu Talib. Al-Badi'. Al-Badi' translated here as the absolute cause. One might think that the one who creates without a previous example, he initiates everything that was created without a previous example. The absolute cause, the ultimate cause, is such that nothing similar to it is known. And if nothing is known to be similar to it, not in its essence, nor in its attributes, or in its action, nor in anything attributed to it, that one is the absolutely original. Were something known to be like that one, it would not be the absolutely original. Nothing befits this name absolutely but God. May he be praised and exalted, for there is no one before him, so that one like him could be known before him. Furthermore, every existing thing that comes after him is realized by his origination and is hence incommensurate with its maker. So he is originator eternally and forever. Every man who is marked by special characteristics in prophecy, sainthood, or knowledge, such that none like him is known either in times gone by or in his generation, is original in relation to what is peculiarly his and in the time to which he belongs. Let's choose a specific person. Said al-Nursi, the Turkish religious leader who did really consider himself even a follower of Al-Ghazali, wanted to preserve first of all the religion and spirituality of people against the onslaught of atheism and secularism that definitely invaded Turkey and definitely the rest of the world. But here specifically, after Ataturk initiated his programs to change the character of Turkey, thinking that by changing certain appearances, he would change the religion and the history and of his own people. Take, for example, the prohibition of Islamic dress for both men and women, and they were punished. The change of the capital from Istanbul, which has really rich Islamic history, to Ankara, which was devoid of any Islamic character. The change of the Arabic letters to Latin letters, so that the subsequent generations will be cut off from their tradition. But the honorific title of Said Nursi became Badi' al-Zaman. This is an example about this very last sentence, whereby someone will be considered original, Badi' really, in relation to his time, So he's Badi' al-Zaman. The text of the very last sentence in Arabic, وَإِمَّا فِي عَصْرِهِ فَهُوَ بَدِيعٌ. Here, بديع عصره, بديع الزمان. That's only an example of how it could be used, but in the absolute sense, only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the al-badi', because everything that He created in the universe, He is the one, He is the only one who created these without a previous example. Otherwise, it would be another God, which is impossible. And any notion of ibda' today, the meaning is simply to be creative rather than to be originator in the absolute sense, because we always use our previous our personal previous history, or history of ideas, history of inventions, etc. We always use that which exists, and it could be the history of humanity, etc. So we are not mubdi'un in the absolute sense. It's relative to our times or to the history of a specific area. Suffice it, inshallah, for this session, and we'll continue bidnillah azza wa jal with al-baqi. That would be number 96. Until the next session, inshallah. Subhanakallah wa bihamdik. نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.